So, in what was very much a game of two halves, Scotland, you could argue, steal a 1-0 lead to take to Hampden on Sunday afternoon or night to see if we can remain in Nations League A thanks to Scott McTominay first half penalty. In terms of how the game went, I think obviously my starting 11 prediction was wrong. He did, however, stick with the back four instead of reverting back to the back five. But, as much as certain players obviously played the role well tonight, I do think, in my opinion, Kieran Tierney should have been in from the off, even though Grant Hanley did deal with everything that came his way tonight. And that we should be starting to phase Kenny McLean out of the Scotland squad now. I've been saying this for a while. The whole Lennon Miller debacle, for example, is something that was in the press this week. Potentially, if you want to bleed him in, this might have been the game to do it. However, with the way the second half went, maybe it required a wee bit more of an experienced head. In the end, it'll be interesting to see if the starting 11 remains the same, given that Ryan Christie will be no longer suspended for the second leg on Sunday, or if he goes for the same. I'm going to predict just now that he's going to go for the same lineup that started the game today. What's frustrating to me is Steve Clarke has always been like this with his substitutions. He waits far too long to use them for a start, but you've got 5 available to you, and you don't use them. 4 subs used tonight. Yes, we won the game, but it's somewhat of a bit of luck that got us that. I know they never had really any clear-cut opportunities. We'll get into that in a second, but we got absolutely overrun in that second half, and it was crying out for some fresh legs. Lewis Ferguson on a booking, yes, he obviously did well in the game, but that could have been a risk that could have seriously backfired. Even some of the subs itself were weird, bringing a centre half on for a right back. I don't know what formation we were playing in the end. It might have been a back 6 or a back 7. It was just extremely weird. But getting into the game, of course, first half, wee bit of a cagey affair to start with. Scotland awarded a penalty, which, it's one of those ones where if the ref gives it, VAR are never going to overturn it. McTominay kind of slips on the ball and gets kicked in the studs. I personally don't think it's enough for a penalty, but you're not going to complain if it gets awarded for you. And to be fair to McTominay, even with lasers shining in his eyes, he dispatches the penalty very well for 1-0. Opportunities-wise for the rest of the half, there were 2 for Scotland in particular, maybe 3 actually, where Gilmore's put through by John McGinn, and there's a little push in the back, probably not enough for a penalty, and he completely fluffs his lines. Shea Adams gets the ball, pretty clear-cut chance, and just hits it right at the goalkeeper. I think he should be scoring this for 2-0, and then there was another one where he was giving it out wide, where he latches it just wide. But at half-time, as much as the penalty was a wee bit controversial, it was definitely a half where you could say that Scotland had the better of it. Not too much for Craig Gordon to do in the grand scheme of things, and we had some pretty clear-cut chances going forward. Second half, though, it was an absolute battering from minute 1 from Greece. Totally and utterly destroyed us. How they didn't score, I don't know. There was a couple of clear-cut chances that they, of course, had. One in particular where Anthony Ralston does just enough, it seems, to put him off at the back post. And then there was a couple of others where there was a little deflection from Suter to take it wide. Crosses galore into the box, which we were to be fair to Scotland, we dealt with it really well. The balls into the box for the most part, but I don't. And then obviously Greece were awarded a penalty, which was clearly a foul outside the box. I don't know why it took VAR so long to award it. Greece actually also had the ball in the back of the net at one point, but the ball was well out. No Alistair Johnson versus Hibs controversy is going to be had here. You can tell quite clearly that the ball was across the line for that one. But Scotland, we rode our luck tonight at times in terms of the chances we were giving up. We ended up finishing the game either with a back 6 or a 7, might have been a back 8, I don't know. It was very defensive. But we do come away with a win, which, according to the punditry team, is an extremely rare case in Greece, actually. Only a few teams have actually gone over there and won away from home. So that puts us in pretty good company in terms of results there, and it's where we want to be if we want to remain in Nations League and be considered one of the teams that people don't want to play against. Not for the reasons like tonight, where it was a massive defensive performance in the second half. It was a hard watch if you were a Scotland fan, and it's not the kind of football that I would like to see us play if we can get the ball down and dominate teams. Not saying that that's what we had the right to do against Greece, but it's something that we need to lay down the marker on Sunday, get the job done, not just to stay in Nations League A, but we also need to put the marker down for Greece in the World Cup qualifiers. Speaking of which, Denmark did also beat Portugal 1-0 tonight. That is a two-legged affair as well. On paper, you would probably say you would rather Denmark than Portugal, but whoever is the team that we end up facing in the World Cup qualifiers out of those two will be the favourites to win the group for sure. Will be a tough fixture no matter who it is against. We do have some experience playing against both sides in recent years, but they will be the favourites to win the group, whoever it is that we end up getting from that. That's going to do it for this one. Hopefully we can continue the momentum heading into Sunday and, stay in Nations League A. It would be good not to have a second half like we had there, or a first half, mind you, for it, but we'll see how it goes. Thank you very much to all the new viewers and subscribers. Please like and subscribe for more, and I'll catch you after.